Hi. So today we are going to talk about pandas. Now, pandas is short form for Python Data Analysis Library. Okay, it is derived from the term panel data, which is an econometrics term for multidimensional structural data sets. One of the main uses of pandas is data munging or wrangling, as they call it. Okay, and obviously, pandas is a central component of any data scientist toolkit. Okay, now what is data munging or data wrangling is nothing but process of transforming raw data into any other usable format. Okay, so it takes data like a CSV file or a SQL database and it creates a Python object with rows or columns called as a data frame. So this is primarily what pandas does, and a data frame is very similar to a table. Okay, now in order to install pandas you have to go in your command prompt. Okay, and you have to do pip install pandas. Okay, so command prompt can be accessed by cmd and command prompt, and or you can go in your anaconda prompt. Since I use most of my stuff in spider, I can use anaconda prompt. I go and run as administrator. Okay, and out here I can do pip install. Okay, since this is anaconda prompt, I can do conda install pandas. You can do pip install pandas or conda install pandas. Whatever you do, it's gonna take the file, the panda libraries from the net, and it's going to install it in the system. So it's going to collect the package and install it. So now, obviously, in my case, it is going to show that the package is already present in the system. So that's what's the eventuality. But you can do it yourself for whatever. See, the requested package is already installed in my system. In your system, it'll get installed if it's not installed. So this is that. Then I go on to Spider. Okay, create a new program, obviously. And for program, okay, for running pandas in a program, I have to import it. So I have to do import uh, just like we did for NumPy. So import pandas as PD, and along with that I have to do import NumPy as NP also. Both of these libraries work hand in hand. So this is how you initialize pandas and use it in any of your programs. Okay, import pandas as PD, import NumPy as NP, and you're good to start coding in the pandas for the program. But there are a couple of more things that you need to know about pandas before we start go on with our program work. One is the core components of pandas. Basically, pandas are comprised of series and data frames. Okay, series are nothing but you can call them columns, or they are somewhat like NumPy arrays also. But this is a special object of type pandas called series. Okay, of the pandas a module called series. Okay, now these objects they look like this. So apples 3201, this is your column, and 0123 is the index or the row number of each column, right? So this is how a series looks like of apples. This is a series of oranges, and this is a data frame, which data frame is a multi-dimensional table which is made up of a collection of series. So you can see that if I combine these two series and create a data frame, it's going to look like this. Now, this apples and oranges example I've obtained from some website. I don't remember which website, but it's a very good example. So I'm retaining it for our own purpose, because for the purpose of understanding, it's a very, very brilliant and simple example. Okay. So you have a column for each fruit, okay, and a row for each purchase of that fruit by customer. So this is how a data frame typically looks like. And now we are good. Now that you know what a series and data frame looks like, we are good to start coding in our spider. So there we go. Okay, we go back to our program. You import pandas and numpys. Okay, And then now you have to what we are doing is we are creating a data frame. Okay, one moment, creating a data frame from scratch. That's what we are doing. Now how do we do that? The first method that you can apply, or the most common method, is from a dictionary. Okay, so let's create a dictionary. Data is equal to, okay, and we'll use that same apple and oranges example. So the first key is apples, okay, and the values in that are in a list 3 comma 2 comma 0 comma 1, okay, and comma, a second key that I put here is oranges. Okay, again I put a list here of things 0 comma 3 comma 7 comma 2. Okay, so this is my data frame of apples and oranges. Okay, so what I do is, first I create a data frame called purchases. Okay, and I create it using pd dot data frame, and in this method I pass the data value. Okay, so this is gonna work. No, because this data frame is not correct, so I need to make this D capital. Now it's gonna work, still not correct. I need to make D and F capital both. Okay, so yes, now it's gonna work. So sometimes if you forget the concept, Python will remind you, don't worry. Okay, so now if I want to check out this database, okay, then I want to do pd dot head, okay, and then I want to print this out. So to check the top 5 rows of a data frame, this is what you do. Okay, pd dot head, and I need to obviously print it out. If I want to print out, there you go, print pd dot head and quotation. So again not there because I have to do purchases dot head, my bad. I'm making a lot of stupid mistakes today. Print purchases dot head, and there you go. So this is how that data frame looks like, pretty much like this one, right? Data frame, this is how it looks like. Okay, so pretty much like how we saw it in our slide out here. Now what I need to do is, okay, instead of 0 1 2 3, okay, I want to add a customer name. Okay, add a customer name. Okay, how do I do that? Is I create a list, okay, called index list, okay, which is a list of customer names. So customer 0 is June, customer 1 is Robert, customer 2 is Lily, and customer 3 is David. Okay, so this 0 1 2 3, this first part which is there, I want to replace that with customer names. So what I have to do is I have to change the definition of the data frame, that is purchase is equal to pd dot data frame with D and F capital, okay, data of course, comma, index is equal to, and I have to just give it index list. So I can either type this list directly after the equal to file, or I can do it this way. Now when I print purchases dot head, it's gonna instead of 0, 1, 2, 3, it's gonna give me the customer names. So June bought 3 apples, 0 oranges. Robert bought 2 apples, 3 oranges. Lily bought no apples, 7 oranges. David bought 1 apple and 2 oranges. So this is now how your data starts making more sense. Okay. So this is your creating a data frame from a dictionary. So one important thing that you need to know is that these 0, 1, 2 and 3, okay, they are indexes of the rows, okay, whereas these June, Robert, Lily and David, they are labels of the rows, okay. So you need to understand the difference. So instead of 0, 1, 2, 3 indexes, okay, add a customer name that is labels to the rows. Okay, so I've just written it here for your understanding. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to locate the entries, okay, or data in a data frame. Okay, now how will you locate the data of a data frame? First system is label based location. Okay, so now if I want to find purchases of Robert, okay, I have to just do purchases and then the dot loc, okay, sorry, purchases dot loc and then Robert. Okay, so label based location uses the loc method. Okay, so if I do this and if I run this, I will get, oh okay, I need to print this out, sorry for that. I need to put all of this in the print statement and its brackets. So there you go. Now if I print this out, I will get that 2 apples and 3 oranges are what Robert had purchased. Okay, so here you can see Robert, 2 apples and 3 oranges. That is what you've got here as your response. Okay. What I can also do is I can, in which form the response is coming out. So here A is equal to purchases dot loc Robert. Okay, and I'm going to print A obviously, and I'm going to print type of A. So you'll come to know that this response is in which format, so that you can use it somewhere in later data points, right? Also this needs to be there in the start of the program. No space bars. Yes, correct. So now this program is gonna run. So if I do this, so this apples and oranges which are there is in the form of a Panda series, what we just learned, right? So from a database, I have extracted Robert's data in the form of a Panda series. Okay, so this is your location based this thing. I can also find how many oranges did Robert purchase only. I don't want to know what apples he purchased. So again I can do it by the labels. So I have to just do purchases dot loc. Then the first label is Robert and the second label is oranges. Okay, so this will give me how many oranges that Robert purchased. That is 3 here. This last 3 is basically the answer. The earlier stuff is just a repeat of all the previous code. So 3 oranges are what Robert purchased. Okay, so this is how you find out label based location. Okay, now the second is, as you must have guessed, index based location. This is very simple. Okay, instead of the label name I have to type the index. Okay, and for that I have to do iloc, LOC's location. So iloc is index based location. So I print purchases dot iloc, and in square brackets, if I were to put 3, I will get uh, David's purchases. Okay, so let's see. If I do purchases dot iloc 3, and if I print it out, I'm gonna get David, 1 apple, 2 oranges, and David. Whereas if I do purchases dot iloc 3 comma 0, okay, I'm going to get one moment. Sorry about that. 3 comma 0. Okay. Huh. And if I print that out, I'm gonna get what? 3, that is David, and 1. So David bought 1 apple. That's what I'm gonna get basically. So here I'm gonna get 1 as the answer. Number of apples that David bought. Okay. So that is that. Now, right. So this is your index based location. Okay, I'm just leaving this and the earlier one for you, just for your reference. Okay, so I can do it only 3 and I can do it only 3 0, and this is the answer. 1 apple, 2 oranges, and if I do 3 comma 0, then 1 apple. That's what I'm gonna get. So that is my Panda series. The first one is gonna give me a series. Second one is just gonna give me a number, an integer, right? So that is label based location. Okay. Now the third thing that you can locate the entries of a column. Okay, that is going to be by selecting a column. Okay. So what you have to do is 3. Selecting a column. Okay, what I have to do is I have to just print purchases, which is the data frame, and the column name, that is apples. So in this, if I do, I'll get a series of apples. Okay, there's some error. Yeah, I put 2 U's in purchases, so that is that. And if I print this, there you go, I'm getting these apples, 3201 apples, and June Robert Lily David. So pretty much like this, apples 3201, and instead of this I'm obviously getting the labels, right? So this is that. Again, this is a Panda series, okay, with components which have a data type of integers. Okay, so it also gives you the information of the type of data that is contained in the series or in the data frame. Okay, so this is how you can select a column and locate entries, okay, from pandas. Now, so there are a couple of things I want to talk about before we can wind up this video. One of them is that here in the label I've put Robert, okay, which is a row label. If I put a column label, okay, so instead of this, let's say I'd only put oranges, okay, a column label. Okay, so label based location, locating entry, if I just put a column name, it's gonna give me an error. Why? Because you have to give row name comma column name. So in this case, if I want to locate the entries based on column name, I have to give a colon as a row name, which is like all rows, comma, and then oranges. So if I do this, and if I now run the program, there you go, I get all the oranges that are there in one series. Okay, So this was one thing about label based locations that I want to tell you. Same thing applies to index based locations also. Okay, if I want all apples, okay, if I do this print ilog 0, it's gonna give me data of June and not data of apples. So if I want all rows, okay, and only the 0th column, I have to do colon comma this, and it's gonna give me apples. There you go. So 3201 are the apples. Okay, so this is about lock and iloc and how you have to give rows and columns both in their definition. Okay, so this is your rows and this is your columns. If you want only columns, you put a colon here, comma, oranges. Same way out here. Okay, we just demonstrated that. Okay, now another thing I want to tell you was that I showed you that this is a series. Okay, what you obtain here is a series if you want to print out the whole series, whereas this is a number. If you give the exact location of that variable, it's going to give you an integer. Okay, that there are 3 oranges which Robert has purchased. So Robert comma oranges is not going to give you a series, it's just going to give you an integer 3. Whereas if you write only Robert, it'll give you a series like this, okay, which is a Panda series. Okay, so your output is in which format is important. So now to demonstrate my next point, let's create another data frame, okay, with apples, oranges and pears in it. Okay, again I have to add a dictionary called data with pears, and then how many pears purchased by these people. So 1 5 2 1. Okay, so these many pairs have been purchased by each of them respectively. So now I have to add the index list and all that, and let me call it purchases 2. Okay, purchases 2 is equal to that, and now if I do print purchases to 2 dot head, is gonna give me the new data frame car description: June, Robert, Lily, David, apples, oranges and pears. Okay, now let's go to selecting a column section again. Okay, and let me select apples. I want to select 2 columns. I don't want to select just 1 column. I want to select apples and pears. Okay, purchased by these people. So I'm doing it this way. Okay, so let's see the output. Okay, this an error is showing. So one thing you have to keep in mind is you tend to make dumb mistakes when you're doing Python. So one dumb mistake I made was, instead of purchases 2, I wrote purchases apples and pears, purchases as only apples and oranges. And another dumb mistake I did was that this requires a list inside it, and I've given it 2 variables just like that, apples and pears. So now if I give it a list inside that list, okay, I think it should work. So let's run it. There you go. So here I'm getting only apples and pears. Okay, now let's see what type it is. Okay, so a is equal to this, print a and print type of a. Okay, so here, since it has 2 columns, 2 series in it, okay, if I only print apples, okay, I will get a Panda series like what we got out here, right? This is a Panda series. Why? Because there's only 1 column in the output. If I give an exact location like 3,0, then I'm going to get a number. That is the number of oranges that Robert has bought. But if I give 2 columns like apples and pears, my output is in the form of a data frame. So this is what I want to tell you about accessing the data in a dictionary. Okay, now in our next session we will do a bit more of this. Okay, and we will work on Netflix data. So that we'll do on the in the next video. So stay tuned.